Okay, next week, as promised, we're going to stick with the basics theme, but it's going to be internal basics as opposed to the physical structures. I'm going to essentially be talking about breath, because that is level one of anything to do with internal, is becoming in touch with your breath. Obviously, we breathe when we do our form, but really tapping into the sensation, sort of like what I was saying about the feet, and just thinking, yeah, I can feel something there. I'm analyzing and feeling every sensation that little foot movement creates. So same with the breath. We want to, don't just, in-breath, out-breath. They're two different things, an in-breath and an out-breath. There's not just two different things that happen there. There's lots of different stuff that happens within that breathing section. But just basics. I'm not going to go on to any kind of fancy reverse breathing or tortoise breathing or prenatal breathing or whatever. Not going to go on to any of that stuff. It's going to be really basic, simple breathing physically, but the mindset of how to become aware of the different sections of that breath. What happens to your body at the very low point of the breath? What happens as the breath fills? What happens when you get to the very top of the breath? When do you breathe out? And most importantly, how to link that with your form. So just a little teaser for you. Rather than breathing in breath, out breath. It's not that at all. It's in breath. I'll just make a sound so you can hear where I'm breathing. So this would be very basic breathing, how someone might first learn, right? Okay, so in, out. One for one. One movement, one breath, one movement, one breath. It's easier that way. That's the simple way to do it. The very basic. When you're learning the physical form, that's how you'd breathe. But once we want to tap into that internal side, this is just one little example. I'm going to go. See, the out breath changed. It held on a little longer. The out breath didn't happen until the closing part of the movement, because there was a closing movement there on the in-breath, then there was a little opening movement. The out-breath doesn't start until a little later. When the power starts going through the movement, that's when the breath starts breathing out. So you can see the breath starts, it doesn't go one for one anymore. The breath starts to overlap a little more. It holds on a little bit more until that power is driving through, for example. So this is where we start to really feel something happening within our form, but still keeping it pretty basic. So that's going to be the idea there. And by breathing in this way, essentially it teaches you opening and closing without even realizing it. So this is what I'll be explaining. Rather than thinking about opening and closing as, do this and do this. If you simply follow your breath, the opening and closing comes naturally. This is how I learnt opening and closing, actually. But I wasn't told I was learning opening and closing. I was just told to breathe right, and this is how it sort of naturally happened. Of course, it's nice to also say, okay, yeah, so there's a little opening. It's nice to sort of have that physical element as well, and I will explain a little bit about that at some point. But you should get it through the breath first. If it never comes for whatever reason, and you've got a strange body that really needs that physical thing, that physical input, then yeah, that's when I'll step in and say, right, you've been working on that breath for a long time and it's not come. But because you've been working on that breath for so long, you've been doing the breath correctly, but even though the opening and closing it's like the body's not loose enough or not in touch enough to allow that breath to let the body change. At that point where I'll say, okay, allow this to happen and allow this to happen, because you've been breathing the correct way previously, you'll then go, oh yeah, I get that. That is so good. It'll happen straight away. It won't feel like, right, so what have I got to do? I've got to open the chest, open the elbows halfway through the posture, and then start to close the spine and close. It's like I'm purely physically thinking about it, you see? If you feel like you're totally physically thinking about that opening closing move, it probably means you shouldn't be learning it yet. But if you've been breathing correctly at that second level of breathing, that internal level of breathing, for long enough, it should either happen naturally all by itself, or it'll, when I do tell you it, when I physically show you it, you'll then just go, oh yeah, it'll just, it's like it's already there. It just needs the little key unlocked, that kind of thing. So we'll do that next weekend. Good stuff, guys. Hope you enjoy your day.